Hello and welcome back. As always, thank you for joining me today. We have a very good question that we're going to address today. It's a question from one of you, and before we get into it, let me extend the invitation, which is ongoing for sure, to ask questions if you have them. Spirituality is a process of deep self-inquiry, isn't it? And let's stress the word inquiry. Yeah. Questions are inevitable, and if you have them, I'm more than happy to help with that. That's part of the reason that these videos exist. And yes, we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, a couple paragraphs at a time, that sort of thing. But I'm more than willing at all times to pause and address what's coming up for you live. That's a very good use of our time. So I thank you for the question and for all of the questions that people have asked in the past. Just an invitation here to ask them if you've got them. You'll benefit not only yourself, but every single person that finds these videos all over the world. So it's very cool. Now, the question is, what do we do about our existing or old relationships? Our relationships with friends and family while we're on the spiritual path before awakening, all of that stuff, where we appear to find ourselves here as students of this wild, weird thing called A Course in Miracles. And what do we do about our friends and family? Excellent question. We all have this experience. So, here on Wobbling Spinning Ball of Rock, where we all mistakenly assume that we're an ego, an individual human being, a self-sustaining survival unit, our reputation, our job title, our gender, our age, all of that fun stuff, our height, our weight, our political affiliation, our preferences, our color preferences, our food preferences, our wine preferences, or if we don't like that, the way we like to drink our water with ice or without, lukewarm or cold, all of that fanciful, funny stuff that we occupy ourselves with, which is a lot when you think about it. Here we are, and we form relationships here in the world. And when you start on your spiritual journey, there will inevitably be people who don't understand. They think you're nuts, maybe. And maybe they don't. I don't know. But it's happened to me a lot. So, a good question. This is something everybody can relate to. People don't necessarily understand why you're doing this wild, weird thing called A Course in Miracles. And, well, that's okay. Well, we're all apparently, and I do stress apparently here on Wobbling Spinning Ball of Rock doing life, we appear to have different ideas about things. We appear to have different ways of approaching life, different approaches to our experience, different things that we appear to be interested in, different proclivities, things like that. We just look at things differently. So here you are interested in spirituality, and you may very well have close friends and family members that think you're crazy. I can relate to that. And these are people that most likely love you but don't understand, and that's okay. See, as people that are on this thing called the spiritual path, we have an adult responsibility, don't we, to ourselves and to every living thing to look at our own stuff. A Course in Miracles is very specific and very direct in telling us and showing us that everything that we appear to see here is in fact a projection of our own mind. Somebody disagrees with you and doesn't hesitate to say so. It's a projection of our own mind. Disagreements are a projection of our own mind. It can be difficult to swallow. Same with massive global conflict, a projection of our own mind. People behaving badly in public or supposedly privately, supposedly privately, projection of our own mind. Things that the ego doesn't want us to look at, but here we are looking at it. So, what does this present but an opportunity for forgiveness? In fact, anything that is not wholly joyous in your experience is an opportunity to forgive. Anything that is not wholly and completely radiantly joyous is an opportunity to forgive. Even a trifling little annoyance. It only seems trifling, maybe, but if you notice it, it's an opportunity to forgive. Quite simply. So we have these relationships with our close friends and family members where they think that we're nuts. I mean, my mom didn't understand what I was doing, and my dad tried to understand in his way, but wasn't ready to grasp or to think, even to think about the central teaching of A Course in Miracles. There is no world. As you well know, this is not our home, which you well know, we're not this. Again, you know this deep down. Does not mean that you have to accept and acknowledge that. That is your choice. But you know it's true. It's fine. No problem. We have all engaged in denial for a long, long time, so it appears, because this conversation appears to be necessary. If we hadn't, we wouldn't be having it, for sure. So here we are on the path, and you may be putting in a lot of effort and pouring your experience into this, and other people don't understand. So here's something that we all must understand as spiritual practitioners. Anything that's not wholly joyous is an opportunity for forgiveness of our friends, of our family members. We must also understand that, well, we're doing our own work here. Now, there is no individuality. That's true. There is no separation of any kind. But while there appear to be 8 billion plus raving, screaming lunatics called human beings running around here, doing life, yeah, while that appears to be the case, we must do what we call our own forgiveness work. Anything that's not wholly joyous in your experience is an opportunity. It's a gift, actually. And you could choose to see it that way. It is not our job to make people understand. This is a point of frustration for many people on the spiritual path at one point or another. Whether you're doing the course or not, it makes no difference. We have this urge sometimes to try to win people over to our point of view, to try to convince them of the errors of their ways and win them over to our side and to make them understand why it's so important to us to forgive, why it's so important to lean into the guidance of the Holy Spirit, relax and trust it. Those things that people may not be into. And a lot of our friends and family members aren't. And those can be some of the most challenging relationships in the world anyway, because people formulate and have formulated, long since formulated in most cases, an idea of who you are. And when you begin to change, uh-oh. So many intimate relationships end for this reason. Think about it. Because someone doesn't honor somebody else's growth or change. Yeah. So it could be that you get some extraordinary resistance, or maybe people just act annoyed or they poke fun at you in a little trifling, mean-spirited little way. Happens. Again, I can relate to that. So what is that but an opportunity to forgive? Honestly, it is. It's not our job to convince people that A Course in Miracles is the best tradition in the world. It's not our job to convince people that they're feverishly astray and they should come over to our side of the story. Interesting thing here in A Course in Miracles, it is not superior to any other spiritual tradition. It's teaching us that there are no differences of any kind. When we say there's no separation of any kind, that is the truth. We mean that. There is no hierarchy. There is no such thing as better than or worse than. There are many doors in spirituality, and just because somebody's not interested in what you're doing right now at this current point in this wild, weird illusion called time doesn't mean that they won't be. Here's something that we all find that you may find helpful. People are watching you. I mean, they're watching what you do on social media, for sure. They're watching what you do in each and every interaction that you have, even going to the grocery store or something as seemingly mundane and inconsequential as going for a walk one day or one evening, walking down the street. People are watching you and they're paying attention to you. So, because they're watching, they're scoping out the situation. It could be that some people are watching you because they're very curious and maybe they're afraid to approach you, fearing that they don't know anything and they will look dumb, or fearing maybe that you will be judgmental and mad at them for not jumping on the course bandwagon. And there is no difference at all, period, between anything. There's no higher or lower, there's no hierarchy, there's no separation. And people are watching you, and they may be engaging in some extraordinary judgment in their own mind. Sure can happen. Are you living up to the principles that you're espousing here? Are you walking the talk? Are you practicing what you preach? This course emphasizes true forgiveness of the Son of God. Are you doing that? Are you, in fact, showing up and extending love however you are directed by the Holy Spirit to do so? Are you doing it? Are you living it? The more you start to do that, the more people take notice. Will they take this course up and practice it in this lifetime? Maybe not. They don't have to. It's not our job to make them. I mean, because let's face it, our own egos are enough for us to cope with. All of our own judgment is enough for us to cope with. So let us not worry about what other people's judgment of us may be, or of the Course community, or spirituality in general. Let them judge. We have our own stuff that's coming up for us, and this may take the form of feeling very frustrated at friends and family members who don't get it. And yes, it's true that people do part ways here in the world over spirituality. I mean, it's something that happens. So I don't know what anyone's one particular situation may be, but it's a very good question because we all have close friends and family members. And no, not everybody's going to take a look at our practicing the Course and our enthusiasm for it and jump on board with us. After all, who's really ready to go there with the central teaching of A Course in Miracles? There is no world. None. It is illusion. This is a complete illusion. We all know this. We deep down know it to be true, or we wouldn't be on the spiritual path to begin with. So if someone is not ready to go there, no problem. And we just extend love, love them where they appear to be. Now, there are many instances in the world where a relationship may fall away or lose its lose its connectivity over time. I mean, we've all experienced that with people that we've known at one point in time in our lives, and we may have been really, really close to them at one point in time, and then we go off and do life. Maybe somebody moves away or something like that. We get older and we do our thing. That happens. It happens. It's not our job to make people do things in this world. What world? So, to the extent that you feel some, well, annoyance at this, anxiety, or worse, I don't know. We all have this experience, and anything at all that comes up in your experience that is not wholly joyous is, in fact, the raw material for your own awakening. It is for forgiveness. So you could choose to see it as a gift, which is really hard sometimes when we're in the thick of a situation. It's rather tempting to see it as anything other than what it really is, the raw material for forgiveness, because we want to lash out, we become angry and enraged, we want to judge, we want to say something, we want to tweet something, we want to write something, we want to show who's boss. Well, and who is that actually, if there's no separation of any kind? What boss? If there's no hierarchy, what boss? What subordinate? So we just keep forgiving. I mean, we could really characterize the practice of A Course in Miracles with just that. We just keep forgiving anything that is not wholly joyous. And we're presented with multiple such opportunities every day. And in the course of the last 20 or 25 minutes, or however long this conversation's been taking place, you may have been presented with dozens and dozens such opportunities. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I very much appreciate the question because it's good because we can all relate to this. It's not our job to make people do their own work. It's not our job to get them to agree with us. And yeah, it simply isn't. But I very much want to say that if you're experiencing frustration about this, we all go through this because it's part of life. We're excited about something. Why isn't everybody else excited about it? Well, are they ready to go there with they're not a body when it looks and feels like they are? And everything that we appear to see on wobbling, spinning ball of rock attests to that fanciful separation. I mean, who's ready to go there with that, really, and mean it? Well, you are. That's what counts. That's what matters. Yes, other people are watching. They will see you. Just do your thing. Forgive, forgive, forgive. It's so interesting, isn't it, that the ideas in A Course in Miracles are so simple that they can be uttered and completely wrapped up and encapsulated in one or two sentences, yet we find the need to say so much more about it. It's the simplest idea that we're most prone to overlook. Yet there's something in these very simple ideas that just connects. We've always known. Mm. Yes, you have. So has everyone else. If they don't appear to acknowledge that right now, so be it. Just keep doing your thing. So, thank you very much for this excellent question. And again, the invitation goes out at all times to ask questions if you've got them. I am more than happy to write out responses in the comment thread on YouTube, but sometimes it just happens that it's better to have a standalone discussion here in this forum or more than one discussion, as the case may be. So if you have questions, please feel welcome to leave them here. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do that also. Prompt is here in the corner of your screen. Click that icon. You'll be invited to join us. And several conversations happen each week. Again, your questions are always more than welcome. I'm here to serve as a guide for you. So please ask them if you've got them. They can be related to A Course in Miracles or spirituality in general. Either one. Okay. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon.